Have you ever felt like you need to guard what you have? Hold on tight to your skills, your time, your money, thinking you can only afford to be generous, like way later when you've made it? Well, it's a super common fear. And today, we're diving into the story of a brilliant artisan who was trapped by that exact mindset, and how a little bit of ancient wisdom completely turned his life around.
This right here, this is the heart of the problem. This is the voice of our protagonist, Liang Xuan. He truly believed his incredible talent was this finite thing, something he had to protect at all costs. It's a fear that probably sounds familiar to a lot of us, right? But as we're about to see, it was the very thing that was holding him back. Okay, so let's set the scene. Chapter 1, The Trapped Genius. Picture this. We're in the busy capital city of the Great Zhou dynasty. And this is where we meet Liang Xuan. The guy is a young, unbelievably talented artisan. A true genius, really. But he is completely and utterly stuck.
And when I say genius, I mean it. Liang Xuan wasn't just good, he was a master. His drawings were works of art, his knowledge of traditional joinery was just next level. And get this, he even invented something called the live joint buckle, this revolutionary idea that could make buildings resistant to earthquakes. The man was brilliant, but his brilliance was totally hidden from the world.
And here's why. His fear of being poor, his fear of competition, it created this horrible loop he couldn't get out of. He thought he had to hoard everything. His talent? He refused to share his techniques. His time? Nope. Wouldn't work on anything that didn't pay him right away. And his treasure? The little bit of money he had? He clung to it. He was stuck thinking he had to get it all first before he could ever give anything away. And it just led to total stagnation.
So this brings us to Chapter 2, A Grandmother's Wisdom. Everything, and I mean everything, is about to change for Liang Xuan. It all happens during a visit to his ailing grandmother. She was a simple woman, but she saw right through to her grandson's struggle, and she shared this piece of wisdom with him that would become the turning point of his entire life.
She introduced him to this concept, Guangshu Gongyang. Now, this isn't about giving only when you feel rich and secure. It's the total opposite. It's the practice of offering the absolute best of what you have right now. Your most precious skill, your most valuable time. You offer it up as a kind of investment in the universe. It's all about kicking off a virtuous cycle.
The way she explained it was so simple, but so powerful. First, you give your best, not your leftovers, not what's easy. You offer the thing you value most. Second, that single act breaks the grip of fear and just gets things flowing. And third, you have to trust that what you've offered will come back to you, usually in ways you could never, ever see coming. And you know what? He was inspired. Liang's joint decided he was going to put this crazy idea to the test.
And so it begins, the first offering, his skill. He gets back to the capital, and he decides to give away the one thing he was most terrified of losing, his secret, game-changing technique.
I mean, think about how radical this was. The very technique he thought was his only advantage, his secret sauce, he's now teaching it for free to everyone in a monthly workshop. He held nothing back, sharing his detailed drawings, answering every single question from other craftsmen, a lot of whom were his direct competitors.
Of course, he immediately hit a wall. A rival, this guy named Master Zhao, tried to sabotage the whole thing. He spread rumors, sent his apprentices to disrupt the workshops with impossible questions, but Liang Xuan's response was just incredible. He calmly answered every single question, and he even used the tricky criticisms as teaching moments for everyone else. And through all this, his true character and his deep expertise really started to shine.
And guess what? People noticed. The right people noticed. Word about this incredibly generous and brilliant artisan reached the highest levels of government. Turns out, Minister Liu from the Ministry of Works was looking for someone to lead a huge state project, and for him, character was just as important as skill. As he said, they needed a master builder with a grand vision, not a miser hoarding secrets.
And boom, just like that, the cycle makes its first turn. By giving away his most precious skill, Liang Xuan didn't lose his edge. He gained trust, he gained a reputation, and he landed the most important job of his life, building the Imperial Wenyuan Pavilion. He proved he was a leader, not just a hoarder of secrets.
But the cycle wasn't done with him yet. This brings us to his second offering, his time. Now, you'd think being busy with a massive state project would be a good excuse to stop, right? But Liang Xuan knew he had to keep the cycle going.
So he noticed this local porridge charity, one that served the elderly, was operating out of this awful, run-down shelter. So what does he do? He offers to design them a brand new, proper pavilion, for free.
This meant giving up his nights, his only moments of rest from that huge, demanding imperial project.
And his commitment went even deeper than his time. The charity didn't have any money for good materials. So, to make sure the pavilion had a strong foundation, Liang Xuan sold the only valuable family possession he had, a rare architectural book from his grandfather. He literally sacrificed a piece of his own history for the community's future.
And the result? It was incredible. The new pavilion wasn't just beautiful, it was a masterpiece of smart design. It was cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter, and its clever layout actually tripled how efficiently the charity could serve meals. His sincerity was on full display for the whole city to see.
And again, the offering came back. A very wealthy patron who'd been struggling to find an honest architect for a really difficult private garden project saw Liang Xuan's selfless work at the charity. He saw that integrity, that sincerity, and he realized this was the only person he could trust. Liang Xuan's gift of time returned to him as a huge, high-profile commission. Which leads us to his third and final offering, his treasure. Now, Liang Xuan has a growing reputation, he's got a solid income, he could have stopped here. But he remembered the principle. Always offer the best of what you have. This time, his offering was his money. He had noticed this really gifted young student in his free workshops, a kid named Jiang Ming, who was about to quit because he was drowning in debt. So quietly, and this is the key part, completely anonymously, Liang Xuan started supporting him. He paid off his debts and made sure he had the best tools and books to keep learning. He never asked for any credit. The only thing he ever sent was this simple, powerful note with the money. His goal wasn't to get a thank you, it was to empower the next generation to keep that cycle of skill and knowledge flowing. And this offering, it also came back, but it took years, and it happened in a way he never could have predicted. 3 years later, Jiang Ming is now a successful artisan himself. At that very moment, the Minister Liu was retiring and looking for a successor, a position that required not just skill, but unimpeachable character. When Liang Xuan's name came up, it was Jiang Ming who stepped forward and told the whole court about the anonymous benefactor who saved his career, revealing that it had been Liang Xuan all along.
This was the final piece of the puzzle. Each one of Liang Xuan's offerings, made without any expectation of a specific return, came back to him in a huge, life-changing way, completing this incredible virtuous cycle.
So let's just recap the whole thing. He offered his skill, teaching his secrets, and it came back as a career-making state project. He offered his time, sacrificing his rest and his family heirloom, and it came back as the trust of a top-tier private client. And he offered his treasure, anonymously funding a student, and years later, it came back as the key recommendation that put him in a position of real power and influence. And this, of course, brings the whole lesson back to us. Liang Xuan's story is a powerful reminder that real abundance isn't built by hoarding, but by giving. It shows us that when we offer the very best of what we have to the world has a funny way of offering its best right back to us. So it leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. What treasure of yours, your unique skill, your precious time, or your simple kindness is just waiting to start its own virtuous cycle?